Hey everyone, happy Friday. We are on week 2 of social distancing and we are feeling fine. Are we fine?
We're fine. We're a little lonely.
We are a little lonely. We miss you.
It's a sad place sometimes looking around and not seeing anybody in the building, but.
It is. My name is Erica Hill and I am the Community Relations Coordinator here at the microphone, and I'm going to try really hard not to touch my mic again. I'm here with Carla Gordon.
Hi.
She is our Assistant Director of Library Operations and head of our reference department. And she has been working at libraries for over 20 years.
Yes.
Is that true?
It is. I know.
And is an expert at book and reader matchmaking.
Sure.
She also reads really, really fast. And so when she says that she's read 3 books in the last 2 weeks, that is not an exaggeration.
It's not, though I have to clarify that I listen really, really fast.
That's true.
So I listen to a lot of things. I read some things, but I listen to a lot more.
Me also. So today we're talking about things to read during a pandemic.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously I didn't know that this was coming, and so I did not appropriately cue my hold list on Libby to give me stuff that I should read during a pandemic. So I've been kind of surprised that the things I've been reading have actually been really great for me, and I wouldn't have guessed that. So, because I've been reading nonfiction, which I would have thought in like a world crisis, I would want to read some epic fantasy and some fairy tale something. And
I'm reading all the fluff. I'm reading all the fluffy stuff.
So I thought that's what I would want, but just because of the way my books have come up on my hold list, I've been reading some nonfiction, but it's been really good. I want to recommend to you guys to maybe stretch a little bit and read some nonfiction during this time when you're home. The first one that I read that kind of surprised me how much I loved it was called Humble Pie. It's by Matt Parker and talks about what happens when math goes wrong in the real world. So he's a math professor that has written this book, but he's also a stand-up comedian now that does stand-up comedy with an overhead projector, which he's really hilarious. And I listened to the book. He's got excellent comic timing. He's very funny, and his stories are just so hilarious. But what I thought that I really liked about reading like science nonfiction during this time is the reminder that, first of all, there are a lot of really smart people out there, and that gives me comfort because I think they're going to find solutions for us. So there's that, and also science is science, and you can kind of rely on it in a time when I don't feel like I can rely on a lot. Right. And so I kind of recommend reaching out. There's Sam Keen, there's Bill Bryson that does some good entertaining stuff that's like real world, like remember the good old days of normalcy. And David Bodanis does some good things with science. Just your home, maybe stretch a little bit if you haven't read a lot of science nonfiction. It's called Pop Science, and it can just be a lot of fun and kind of get yourself out of your head and the current situation and give you something else to kind of think about.
Plus it gives you great sort of, not that any of us are having dinner parties right now.
No.
But it gives you sort of great dinner party anecdotes because someone will bring up something and you're like, well, did you know about this math disaster?
Well, you're not having dinner party, but you're having dinner with the same people and lunch and breakfast. So actually, while I was reading this, like every meal I'd be like, hey, husband, guess what? Guess what I just learned? And we would talk about it. So it does give you something else to talk about with the people that you're with a lot right now.
So that was Humble Pie.
Humble Pie. It's a brand new book, just came out, but place it on hold and you'll get it eventually.
That's pie, P-I.
P-I, not P-I-E. Though P-I-E is a good time. It's a good thing during pandemic too. Pie is always a good idea.
Yes.
The next thing that I read that came up on my list was Hold On But Don't Hold Still by Christina Kuzmic. And you might know her. She does parenting Facebook videos, and she is very, very funny. And so I put this on hold a long time ago. I was excited when it came up, and I didn't realize how much I would need it at the moment, because one of her big messages is only worry about things you can control, and we're all human, and especially when people are trying to homeschool a bunch of kids. I've got a sister with 6 kids in school, and she's trying to homeschool them all at the same time. It's a challenge. So, finding books that give you kind of permission to be human and remind you that we're all just doing our best. Her message was really good, but I really think that any celebrity biography right now might be a good idea. Things like Girl Wash Your Face was another one that came to mind that might be a good option to go to right now. Jim Gaffigan is funny, like some of the comic books that have come out. It's just kind of fun to, again, get out of your own head and into someone else's brain.
Yeah, I'm listening to Over the Top by Jonathan Van Ness from Queer Eye, and he's very funny, but it's also pretty serious. He deals with some pretty heavy stuff growing up, but I think that celebrity memoirs are great right now because they help us feel connected with people, even though we are all far apart. So yeah, celebrity memoirs.
Yeah, like
Great.
there's some really old ones that you probably can find checked in on some of our online sources like Libby and Overdrive and RB Digital. I always like to tell people to read Open by Andre Agassi. Like some of these older ones, anything by Rob Lowe is really good. There's just some really great writers that are celebrities right now that they just have good stories that just remind us that we can overcome hard things.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not texting, by the way. I am pulling up Libby on my phone to see what we might have available.
Yeah. It's really, if you can just go in and just look around, there are things on there, and just as a side note, we are spending additional monies right now to make sure that we can get through those hold lists as fast as we can and try to get people books, but feel free to stretch. Yeah.
Sorry, I just saw a book that I was on hold for, this is not an exaggeration, for 6 months last year. Becoming by Michelle Obama is available right now.
It's available right now. So there are things out there. Educated.
Is available right now. I don't know.
It
if I
is?
would wanna. Girl Wash Your Face.
Yeah, that one should be.
Is
We bought a bunch of
available?
copies. You should be able to find something. So get on there and look. Don't be afraid that you think there's going to be a long hold list for everything. Again,
Yeah.
we're trying to buy additional copies, and sometimes the less known titles are really amazing. So give some things a chance. Get into it an hour. If you hate it, just stop. That's what I do.
Which for you, because you listen at double speed, is you're really only
I
giving
know.
it 30 minutes.
I know, it's really true. It's really true. The one book I did read recently told me that was going to kill my brain, but I don't care. I'm still reading at twice speed because who's got time?
Who's got time? Right now,
Right now, we all
the
have time. That's true.
Okay, so what's your last
All right, so the last
recommendation?
one was actually, it came up on my hold list, and when I saw that it was up next, I was like, oh, I don't know if I should read that right now, because it's called The Splendid and the Vile. It's Eric Larson's new book about Churchill during the Blitz. And I was like, World War II is depressing, and I don't think that's really what I should be listening to right now. But I was going to expire in 7 days, and I'd been waiting for it, and I knew I wanted to read it. And so I was like, I'm just going to, again, give it the 1 hour shot and see how I feel. And I have been surprisingly really uplifted by it because it's reminding me that people go through hard things, like whole countries, whole world has gone through some really hard things, and you look at that greatest generation and what they did with the hard things that they were given. And I look at Churchill as a leader and how he fought for his people and his, like, just how people were dealing with the unknown. And like, I know how World War II ended, but they didn't. And I just really connected with them. And for some reason, I find it really, really comforting. I don't know. It surprised me a lot how much I've really enjoyed it. So don't be afraid of reaching in. I thought it was really funny that there's a book that came out about 15 years ago called The Great Influenza, that the holds on that has spiked in the last couple of weeks because this is very similar to that. And I think people are really reaching out to see, like, how did we deal with it previously, which we did not deal with it as well because there was no social distancing until it was way too late. So hopefully we're dealing with this better, but don't be afraid of looking back in history because there's a lot of really uplifting, positive, powerful things that countries and people and the world has gone through that surprisingly I've found just really great. Just good for my soul. It's been good for my soul.
So, nonfiction, read it. It's great. If you're looking for more fluffy books, we have those too.
We do.
We'll probably talk about them maybe next week. We'll see. I've read 2 Sophie Kinsella novels.
Sophie Kinsella is a good place to go right now.
Yeah. It's a little bit like living inside a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, just
Slightly more snarky.
I did an interview yesterday that they were saying, like, what are people reading? And I'm like, I don't know what other people are reading, but I just think if people will read anything, it gives you that opportunity to get out of your own head because I know, well, and not anything. Don't read Facebook. Like, just shut down reality for a minute. And what's going through there, just put it aside and, get into someone else's head. It just helps empathy. It helps you calm down. It helps you take things in perspective. Just remember that life will go on and things will get better, and just getting out of your own head. That's just my message. Read something and get out of your own head.
Do it. Okay, so those are Carla's recommendations. We don't want to keep you too long, but we did want to point out a few things that have changed this week. Overdrive has increased their number of limits both for holds and checkouts. So you can check out 15 things simultaneously and put 9 things on hold. So that's pretty cool. We have also, we've increased, I did it again, I promised I wouldn't touch my mic and I lied. We've been buying tons and tons of ebooks and audiobooks for you. We also have a couple new services available through the end of August, right? Tumble Books and Book Cloud. Are they all the same family?
It's the same family of companies. The State Library has been able to arrange that for us. They're children's books, so it's kids can't really wait on hold for things. We need things right away, and so they're available all the time. Just go in and grab what you need and enjoy.
Yeah, but there's Teen Book Cloud and Romance Book Cloud too. That again, it's unlimited simultaneous access, no waiting, just do it. We send an email about those, but we'll probably put some links down below if you need them. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is that our librarians have worked overtime to put together a spring reading challenge, which is now live. So if you enjoyed summer reading and winter reading, we've got spring reading, and it contains a bunch of activities that are safe for social distancing, and we'll have some kind of virtual prizes that go along with that. So
yeah,
that's us for today. Those are Friday Faves. We will see you next week.